5 minutes, so I think I'll be short, but the fact that I have a little bit more than 5 minutes, I may go longer than that. But I produce documentaries you may have seen on television. They include a lot of archival footage that was given to me by Tulsans like you, who have gone through their attics and their parents' basements and their garages, and from these home movies, we make documentaries. I got started in doing this probably about 10, 15 years ago when I was the station manager at OETA here in Tulsa, and found some film clips that the Historical Society had, and we found that the more we put these old film clips of Tulsa on television, the more people came to me with their old home movies. So in this process of gathering movies, we have put together probably the largest collection of archival films, bar none, in Oklahoma. That's a good Oklahoma term, bar none. And what we do is when people give us their home movies, we send them to a lab out in California and they restore them and they make them look great. And considering the fact that we have lost the, or may have lost the Admiral Twin, we thought it would be a good subject to look at old film clips of other things that have vanished over the years in Tulsa. So I'm going to just go right to the film clips. I was allowed to bend the rules and use actual motion pictures. These are films of the Coliseum. If you're not familiar, the Coliseum was Tulsa's premier ice skating hockey rink back before the convention center was built. It was down at 6th and Elgin. I believe it's just a parking lot now. But the Coliseum was where everybody went for ice skating. These are movies of the first baseball park downtown. Everybody got excited about One Oak Field, but before that there was a baseball field where the Home Depot is today. It was called McNulty Park. And these home movies are from about 1928. This is the one of the buildings that a lot of people hated to lose was the old Tulsa Airport Terminal. It was an Art Deco treasure. These were back in the days, of course, when there was no airport security, so people could walk right out onto the tarmac and get into the plane. Nobody ever checked them if they had any bombs on them or anything like that. And you can see how well these films are probably 60, 70 years old, and you can see how well these films have held up through the years. And these were, again, were just home movies that people took out at the airport. They weren't professionals, but films, if properly stored, will last forever and ever, unlike videotape. These are taken in approximately this area of town, and I included these because before they proceeded with some urban renewal of this part of town, somebody was smart enough to go down with their film camera and take some pictures of this area before a lot of it was torn down. This shows the site of the original J.M. Hall store in 1882. And again, these are just kind of raw film clips that I put together. And a lot of times, as I said, these are not professionally shot, but these are home movies that people just had in their attics and garages, and we kind of feel like archaeologists because we're able to dig these up and save them forever. They would have probably ended up in the trash or in you know, thrown away somehow. And I'm sorry I don't know exactly where these are, but these were all shot kind of in this general near North Tulsa area before, again, urban renewal came in. This is called the Bliss Hotel, which was another Art Deco gem, and it was torn down to make way for the Williams Center complex. Everybody has heard of Bell's Amusement Park, or should have. These are movies shot in the first few years of Bell's Amusement Park. And you can see how simple the amusement park was back then. And all this again was shot by people like you and I. And it's funny because some of these movies people didn't expect that they'd ever be on TV, but we've uncovered these films, and all of a sudden these people, you remember Zingo. Anybody know where this is? This is this Akdar Temple building that was where the Tulsa Transit bus station is today. And somebody the day before, or as the building was being torn down, went and took home movies, and we're glad because it's the last time this building was standing. This was the place where Patsy Cline performed here, Johnny Lee Wills, and a lot of Western stars. And of course, Pennington's Drive-In on South Peoria, where everybody went back in the 50s and 60s for black bottom pie and hamburgers. And the guy in the back is Archie Pennington and his wife, who owned the place. And again, just home movies, but they really help tell Tulsa's history in a more visual way. And I appreciate the fact that I'm allowed to use video and nobody else is tonight. So all these things are important to me because by having these movies, we're really saving a piece of Tulsa's past. We're really helping to preserve what is here, or what was here at one time. And so if you have any movies, if your parents have movies, or your grandparents have movies, our deal is always if you bring them to us and we can use them, we'll give you a copy of the DVD. We'll transfer them to today's technology and then give you a copy back of the DVD. And that's how we've collected a lot of the movies that we use in our shows. And as Joe mentioned, our shows, you may have seen them on TV, they typically air on KOTV in the fall. We have 4 different shows, and they sell around Christmas time for 25 bucks at places like Quick Trip and Borders. But tonight they're just 10 bucks. And there's a woman in the back named Carrie Culp, and she is selling them for $10 tonight. And a portion of that goes for the Admiral Twin. So anyway, I probably have gone far longer than 5 minutes, but this is the longest presentation we'll have to endure tonight. So thanks.